So this week's quilt is a fabric that I've had in my stash for a while because I know I've talked about in the past that I've done a lot of music quilts for my high school band and for music camps and a bunch of other donation and silent auctions. So this one's been hanging out for a while, and we are also going to head into quilts on the double, 3-yard quilts on the double. And so with this book, we are gonna start off by doing the Stellar quilt. So yes, we've got some half square triangles in there, but I love a good star block, and so I think this will be really fun with it. So the center of my star block is going to be the music fabric, which is just this kind of more classy, not so cartoony, goofy, all over music fabric, just with different tempos and speeds and nice like beige and blue. So I thought it was a nice different color scheme than the black and white that I traditionally do because my high school colors were black and gold. So with that, I went with a nice Kona for my background. So this is gonna be what surrounds all my star blocks, just to kind of give a little bit of separation and not be a stark contrast. And so for the outside of my star points and the borders, I've got this one. So this was from this summer's clearance table. We had a good deal on it, and I kept looking at it, and when I started pulling my next pile for all of these 3-yard quilts, I saw this music one, and I was like, I think that's the right color. And sure enough, when they're all in next to each other, they look really good. So I think it's gonna be a little bit of visual interest with this. I don't know if this is gonna be my binding. I know this is gonna be the outside borders. I might switch it up so that this is the binding and then my star print. So I'm gonna start getting this all cut out, and it's gonna be a very adult feeling, very grown-up feeling 3-yard quilt with this one. So here are the cuts for the Stellar quilt. So I've got the squares, big ones and small ones, and then what's gonna be my big strip pieces for the bigger blocks and my border. I did not cut the binding yet because I'm not sure which way I wanna go with it. I have both this for binding and this, because each of these I got 1.25 yards of. This is the one that it says is going to be the binding as according to the pattern, but I also bought some of this for the backing because it was on clearance and I couldn't pass it up. So with that, I don't know if that's gonna be too wild having this on the border, this in the backing, this is the binding, or if I break it up and do this as the binding from there. So I'm gonna wait till this quilt top gets all finished, so we won't know the binding until we get to that point in the next video. But for now, we're gonna make some half square triangles so we can make some star blocks.
Since I did the half square triangles first, that means block 2 is done. So now it's time to move on and work backwards a little bit and do block number 1, which is going to be this solid in the middle with the blue borders on the outside. And we'll see how that turns out. So now here's our block A, that's just the simple square, and then block B, which is the star. And now these are going to go side by side together. So it's going to go rows of 3 because there's 12 blocks of each. No, 12 blocks total. Something like that. 3 by 4, yes, that's 12. So they're going to go 3 across and 4 down, which will be nice because then these are big blocks, small short rows. Everything's going to come together. And this one only has 2 borders, so it's going to be done real quick. So blocks, borders, done.
And now the Stellar quilt from 3 Yard Quilts on the Double is complete. So it's very different from the one that's shown in the book, which has the Kaffe fabric throughout. And so when I was piecing it, when I didn't have the borders on, I was like, oh, this looks so sad. It looks so boring. But now that the borders are on the outside, I really like it. It really kind of pulls it together. I was afraid while I was putting the borders on that I wasn't gonna like the the lighter one being on the outside and wishing that I could have in some way like flip-flopped it so that this would have been the lighter and then this would have been the darker. But obviously when I only have a yard, I can only do so much with the dark. So I actually am really pleased with how the edges and the borders all came out. And I think this kind of just packs a little punch in there. And now I've got to spend my time thinking about the next video and how I'm going to quilt it. So to be determined on that still, so you'll have to come back soon to see that. But in the meantime, let me give you some up close, and so you can see all the goodness with these stars and the words a little bit better. And then we'll be back soon for the quilting.